Should the New York Jets trade Robby Anderson? No. That's the video. What's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary, back with another video, and yes, I'm going to get into more depth why the Jets should not trade Robby Anderson. But before we get started, I just wanted to mention why you should follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary and why on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you're interested in getting a Fire Adam Gase shirt, you can get that down below in the description. And now we could really get into today's video, which is going to be why Robby Anderson actually is valuable to this New York Jets team. Because if you trade him, who are you throwing to? Yes, the Jets are 1-5, and they look like they are derailed at the moment. But Robby Anderson still has value to this team, unlike Leonard Williams, who I do want to trade. I'm going to explain all the context for why. Everything is going around Sam Darnold. The development of Sam Darnold is the most important thing for the 2019 season. And if you trade Robby Anderson, who the hell are you throwing the ball to? Your wide receiver number one then becomes Demaryius Thomas, who is 150 years old and nowhere close to his prime. If this was 2015, fine, trade Robby Anderson. But it's not. It's 2019, and Robby Anderson's the best wide receiver on this team. Jamison Crowder in the slot, okay, he's a good slot receiver. He's not fantastic. He's not bad. He's solid. He's a solid slot receiver. Who are you putting on the other side, though? Vincent Smith? Josh Bellamy? Berrios? No, thank you. I want no part of one of those three guys getting starting time because the Jets use three wide receivers often. So if you're moving Anderson, one of those three guys has to step up into one of those roles, and that can't happen in an NFL offense. None of those guys, all three of those guys are special teamers. They should not be starting wide receiver. So far through the 2019 season, Anderson's stats look pretty rough. 266 yards, 1 touchdown. But there's more context to this. Sam Darnold was pretty much playing with mono in week 1. Then he had Luke Falk as his quarterback and Trevor Siemian for like half a game. Then Sam comes back, looks great against Dallas. Robby Anderson goes off. Next week, Sam looks terrible. And that's all the 2019 sample size. 266 yards, 1 touchdown. With all of that, I know it doesn't look good, but I really don't know how any wide receiver would have good numbers right now with this offense. So ever since Sam Darnold came back last year from injury, if you remember, he missed 3 games in the middle of the year, and then for the last couple of games of the year, the last 4 to be exact, Sam looked really, really good. So including the last 4 games, the Dallas game, which Sam looked good, the Patriots game where Sam also looked terrible, and Buffalo when Sam was sick. So we're going to include all 7 of those games since Sam Darnold came back last year. Robby Anderson has 494 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. Over the course of a 16-game season, that's a pace of 1,128 yards and 9 touchdowns. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that Robby Anderson is your prototypical number 1 wide receiver. That would be ridiculous. But you absolutely could get by with a wide receiver who will give you 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's pretty solid numbers. There's also this notion that Robby Anderson is just a deep threat. While he is at his best running 9 routes and blowing past people, and he's very, very good at tracking the ball, his route tree has also developed each of the last 3 years. To me, Adam Gase is just not utilizing Robby Anderson to his fullest potential. They aren't getting him open. They aren't hitting him in slant situations or enough down and comebacks. They missed him open a few times. So his stat line is a little bit misleading. And if you do trade him, what are you possibly getting for him? Maybe a 3rd-round pick? I don't know if the value of a 3rd-round pick is going to help you as much as having a 26-year-old wide receiver is long-term. I understand Robby Anderson's contract is expiring. I would extend him, though. I really like the trio of Anderson, Enunwa, and Crowder. Now, I think you'd have to add to that, whether it be in free agency or the draft, because you can't rely on Enunwa's health right now. But I don't think you need a Julio Jones or an Odell Beckham or a Michael Thomas in order to be a productive NFL offense. I think you can get by with 3 solid wide receivers, which is what the Jets would have if it was Anderson, Enunwa healthy, and Crowder. I think you get by with that. And I'd be willing to keep Anderson around long term because he has proven that with Sam Darnold healthy, he's a solid wide receiver, and they have good connections. Yes, you could throw the ball to Le'Veon Bell and Ty Montgomery out of the backfield, and also Chris Herndon's going to be coming back soon, but you still need help at wide receiver. And I don't think giving away your best wide receiver, a position you don't have depth in, is an ideal situation. The flip side, Leonard Williams, they have a ton of defensive linemen who they're getting similar production out of. Kyle Phillips could fill in and be just fine. That's the difference. The Jets have more depth at defensive line. They do not have the depth necessary to make this kind of move at the wide receiver position. Let me know in the comments what you think if the Jets should trade Robby Anderson, what they can get for him. If you disagree with me, let me know. I'll get at you in the comments or on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next time.